All right, peace, family. I guess I'll name this one West Freedom. We'll focus on Texas, and it kind of applies to every area, but Texas, I like to use a lot of spots that I could use as a blueprint that would apply to other areas, but it's easier to find as a blueprint. So it says, how leaders of the Texas Revolution fought to preserve slavery, and this is from the Texas Monthly. So to preface this, Mexico had outlawed slavery in its territory. So we will see what scheme and measures that white people went to avoid this. So Texans developed a new scheme with which new settlers could evade Mexico's ban on slavery. According to historical records, before leaving the United States and crossing into Mexican Texas, slave owners would meet with a notary public and draft a document in which slaves were given a specific value. So they placed a value on the slave. So let's say they go to the notary public, boom, $3,000. That's how much their slave worth. So the contract stipulated that though they would gain their freedom when they stepped into Texas, onto the Texas soil, they would enter into a period of internment in which they would work to pay off debts of their value that they now owe to their previous master. So when they stepped into Texas, you were free, but you had a $3,000 value attached to your head. You know, this is just a number I'm throwing out there. A $3,000 value attached to your head, and you had to work off that value. So it says any cost for clothing, food, housing would be deducted from their wages, which was around $20. So your food, clothing, housing would also be taken from you. And see, my grandfather told me this about sharecropping. Sharecropping, they would loan you these tools and equipment. So every year you will always be in debt, and you would never be coming out, you know, in a positive. You will always be in a negative. These are traps. This is the same thing. Working for wages and being free is two totally different things. So which was the wages, what was deducted from them, which was around $20 a year. Any sum not paid off by the time they died would be assumed by their children. So this debt could be passed on. You see these people are devious. Any of the former slave children who were born after their parents passed into Texas would begin paying off their debts when they reached adulthood, presumably being considered property of their master until that point. Cheap labor from the enslaved black people was so central to the success of early Texians colony that the settlers worked very hard to maintain it. So it became something on wages. So when people say, you know, we just wanted to get paid a fair wage or a living wage, all this nonsense that they're talking now, that is not true freedom. True freedom is you was doing what you was doing before you ever met these people, not these stipulations that they try to put on us. And let's go into Juneteenth. So even with Juneteenth, it never gave blacks freedom, and this is the exact text from it. The connection heretofore existing between them, which is slave and master, becomes that between employer and hired labor. So they wanted you to pick up employer and employee instead of slave and a master. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present home and work for wages. So they were advised to stay on the plantation and work for wages. So this is just something quick and light so I could just show you the mind of these people and the mind of our people, because some of our people think that we are free looking back on slavery when we're not free looking back on slavery. We're in a new form of slavery, and slavery is not just the prisoners that's in jail. It's also the people who going to work, sharecropping, or whatever you want to call it, for the same people we've been sharecropping for since we interacted with these people. So to get freedom, we have to be doing for ourselves. Self-determination, self-government. But this is a Free Black Society presentation. I just wanted to show you the nonsense that our people been going through, and we have to break the cycle. Peace.